Tennessee falls to Vanderbilt. Final score 45-24. Wrapping up the regular season, Tennessee finishes 8-4, 4-4 in SEC play. I'm Eric Kane alongside Matt Ray and Austin Price. And Matt, just no other way to phrase it. Tennessee got its tail whipped. Tennessee got bullied in the second half, 3 points. The thing that changed the entire game, when we can get down into it, it was the roughing the passer call there that kept the drive alive. They scored a touchdown there before the half. Vanderbilt owned the middle eight. Again, Tennessee couldn't consistently run the football, missed too many tackles. Tennessee just got its butt handed to it in the second half, and unfortunately, that's the biggest takeaway in this one.
Yep, the offense made some plays, the defense made some plays, and they didn't make nearly enough. It was just ugly throughout the course of the game. Vanderbilt really able to control the pace of the game and do what they wanted to do. Tennessee not really able to rattle Diego Pavia. He gifted them 2 interceptions in this one, and then he still had his way with them. Ran for over 170 yards, threw for almost 300, and really ended it with that long run there in the second half.
Yeah, gifted them those 2 interceptions, Austin, and Tennessee took advantage, scoring touchdowns on both of them. But again, it was the middle eight. Again, it was a 14-point swing. And yeah, like to Matt's point, Tennessee had no answer for him on the ground.
It was the middle 12 because Vanderbilt took it about on an 8-minute drive to start the second half. So which made it worse.
No, you're right.
When you got the ball back, and I asked Joy that, after the game, you hadn't been on the field in like 40 minutes in real time, because you go back to the end of the first half, all through halftime, and then 8 minutes of game time in the start of the second half. I mean, Tennessee hadn't been on the field in so long, and all of a sudden you felt like we were one ahead when he left the field last. Now he's 1 behind, and there was pressure to start that second half, and they went 3 and out. Tennessee was lucky enough to force a field goal, and then went back down the field, a drive that lasted to the early stages of the fourth quarter, but then had to settle for a field goal because Mike Matthews dropped the touchdown pass.
Yeah.
Again, and then at that point, Vanderbilt just kind of gashed Tennessee. Basically, Vanderbilt did whatever they wanted. They made you like it. Yeah. They made Tennessee like it. They talked trash in the offseason. They came in here and they said, we're going to do it, and you're going to take it and like it. And that's where we're at, sitting here at this 8-4 football team, heads into a lackluster bowl with not a lot of juice. And, what kind of changes will come? I am positive there'll be some type of change, whether it's just the change out of the portal or maybe even changing the coaching staff or, support staff. We'll see. Either way, like this, if you're Josh Heupel, if you're Danny White, if Josh Heupel doesn't see there needs to be some sort of change after this game, then that would be a little bit of a red flag for me, because going status quo again into 2026 to me would be a mistake. I'm not saying you got to fire everybody. I think that's silly, but I do think you have to have some type of movement on your staff, maybe it's your strength staff, and or your roster. I think you going to the portal and going to the portal heavy and going and getting some dudes out of the portal is important in this offseason. And I've always kind of been like, let's just sprinkle in a few guys in the portal. I think you got to be heavy portal this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, to complement, again, these are off-season topics we'll talk about all throughout the month of December, waiting for that portal to open. But to complement a young roster that, I mean, you look out there, and again, I'm not saying that's any excuse for Tennessee getting whipped tonight, but you look out there and you got a bunch of youth. I mean, a lot of youth playing in different spots. And so to complement those with some dudes in the portal moving forward. Matt, you look at this football game again, Diego Pavia, you don't have to like him, like Austin said. He talked all that smack. He came in here and backed it up. Threw for 268, ran for
171.
Yeah, ran for 171, and I mean he was all over the place. And again, Tennessee had a couple of plays for him there in the first half where they that one. I mean, he saw his first interception. He saw the matchup he wanted. It was Arion Carter on a slot receiver, and so he tried to force it in there, and Idris Farouk just stepped over. He kind of sailed it a little bit up the seam, and Idris Farouk made that nice play on it. But again, Tennessee couldn't find a stop, and just too many gash plays. I don't have the big plays in front of me, but I mean, so many missed tackles where Tennessee kind of went through that stretch with a couple of games here lately of tackling and missing 5 tackles in consecutive games and missed 14 last week. I bet you they missed at least 15 in this game. I don't know. I go back to the roughing the passer. We can sit down here and we can nitpick, and we were talking about it on the board. Josh Heupel was asked in post game, did you ever get an answer like what was the deal there? And he said not really, just that he kind of hit him in the head. Well, Diego Pavio jumped when he threw it, and when he came down, that's when McMurray made contact. McMurray also, in my opinion, you couldn't stop. But also, in my opinion, that's a flag they're going to throw anytime in 2025. So, like, it's just a tough freaking play. Like, I don't fault McMurray. But that game changed. That play changed the game.
It did. There was a similar play last year at Vanderbilt.
Yes, with Joshua Joseph.
Yeah, with Josh Joseph. There sure was. And it's just going to happen. It's something that they're going to call. But I agree. That play changed the game. Vanderbilt made the most of it, got a touchdown, and they 2-for-1'd you. And as Austin said, the offense is off the field for 40 minutes in real time, and they just didn't make the plays that they needed down the stretch. Tennessee 0-4 against ranked opponents this year. And in 3 of those 4 contests, held scoreless in a quarter. You can't beat good teams being held scoreless in a quarter when your defense cannot consistently get off the field and when they're giving up those drives like you start the third quarter with 7-8 minutes worth of time off the clock. You just can't overcome those things. So again, you can point fingers one way. It was a failure on both sides of the football tonight.
Well, it was, and I look at. I thought, honestly, I thought Deshaun Bishop started hot. Obviously, nobody played well in the second half. He didn't get as many touches in the second half, but at one point in time, he had like 103 yards. He had like that 6-yard loss, and so he didn't end up netting 100, which is unfortunate. But Tennessee just could not run the football at all in the second half. They only netted 8, and again, this is with a loss of 15 yards beat the sacks. They only netted 83 yards, while Vanderbilt had 314 yards rushing. Tennessee had 1 sack, 4 TFLs. Vanderbilt had 4 sacks, 10 TFLs. Offensive line, I thought this all night, Austin. I thought the offensive line just got beat
destroyed.
Up. Yeah.
Destroyed. I mean, listen, you can't put lipstick on a pig. Like, it is what it is. Like, the offensive line got their tail kicked. The fact that Deshaun Bishop had to come, basically a lot of the plays he was lining up in front of the quarterback to try to help in pass protection.
And one of those was on him, but again, there was 4 of them. And
but when you're bringing, when you're bringing so many guys, I mean, Vanderbilt had Aguilar running for his life at times, and a few times he was able to
sidestep it,
or shrug people off and turn absolutely nothing into something. But at the end of the day, this was just a dominant performance by Vanderbilt. Kudos to them. I did not see this coming. I did not. At minimum, I thought Tennessee would be in a total shootout. To think that Tennessee's only going to score 24 points, was that their second lowest output of the year?
Of the year,
Alabama.
At home, they scored 24 last year against Florida in overtime. They scored 23 against Alabama. They scored 10 at home against Georgia in 2023.
Yeah, but I'm talking about this year.
I know. I'm just trying to say, like, putting this offensive performance point-wise in kind of a ballpark.
But just bad, man. And again, that they've got to figure some things out, and they got to do it in a hurry. This calendar does not. It probably helps them keep the recruiting class. I don't think the recruiting class is bailing because they lost a game, but it does help them with anybody that's on the fence with. We're talking about a quick turnaround to Wednesday, but they've got to figure some things out with their roster, with just any potential changes. I asked Josh Heupel afterwards, do you have to have like a short list in your drawer of position coaches at all positions? And kind of he shrugged off the calendar stuff. Listen. It's well documented. Josh has, never really pulled the trigger on anybody, and we'll be interested to kind of see where he goes with the staff going into this offseason.
Nobody wants to hear this tonight, Matt, but it is what it is. Like, regardless of Tennessee, you and I were talking on the way back over to the press box, like, regardless if Tennessee would have, played this excellent game and lost by a field goal, like, some fans would just say, like, you can't lose Vanderbilt. Excusable, fireable offense. Like, the way Tennessee lost to Vanderbilt tonight is pathetic and awful. And, frustration deserving, criticism deserving. But to sit here and say, like, you just never lose Vanderbilt, that's a good football team. That's a really good football team. but it's just the way you got there tonight. It's again, it was pathetic at points and times.
That kind of mindset is foolish by fans. This isn't 1937.
No.
This isn't 1963 or 1982. Okay, first off, Vanderbilt in
The
the
portal
last
changes things. Look at the quarterback.
look at Vanderbilt in the last couple of years. Well, first off, Vanderbilt didn't beat Georgia not that too long ago, right? I mean, you look at they beat Alabama last year, they beat LSU this year, they beat Auburn multiple times. The whole logic that you don't lose to Vanderbilt, it's an archaic logic. Okay, it's just everybody. There's a lot more parity now. So, like, if you think that the coach needs to be fired every time you lose to Vanderbilt, then you're going to be trading out coaches more than you think. Okay, because that's just how this is going to work. Now, you don't need to lose to them next year or the following year,
and you don't need to lose like that.
Yeah, and again, it's how they lost, right?
Yes.
Losing sucks, period. But like, you got dismantled and dominated.
Got your butt whooped.
And so, yeah, I mean, I think you have to. I know fans struggle with the fact that, like, we've always beat them. We've always beat them. You're right, but again, this is a different time, a different era. Rolling 30 wins in a row, like Tennessee did between 1982 and when Jay Cutler beat them in 2005. What was that, 25 or 23 or 24 in a row, whatever it was?
Yeah.
Those days just aren't going to happen very often.
Now, what's next for this team? Well, again, it's a bowl game that nobody's going to get super excited about. Matt, you think with the loss more towards Gator Bowl, is Music City in play now? Charlotte, I think with the win, ReliaQuest made a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most.
Well, that's gone.
Yeah, that's gone. I saw the ReliaQuest. I saw the rep here. I wanted to say something to him, but he just walked by looking not impressed. Although he could be impressed with Vanderbilt because they're not going to make the playoff. I don't think, even though they're 10-2.
Well, I mean, again, it's going to be a lackluster bowl. I think the most important thing is kind of what Austin already hit on. Moving forward, you got to look at the future of your football program. Mm-hmm. You got to get some of these young guys that you really believe in some real run these next few weeks in bowl practice. You got to get guys that are coming in this signing class that you believe that can come in and compete and have an impact for you next year. You've got to try to get them as much out of them as you can in practice. And they're going to come in, big bright eyes and we'll see, what everything looks like. But it's got to be towards the future of your program. Because what I was talking about with the ranked opponents, Tennessee's best win is either against 5-7 Mississippi State, 5-7 Kentucky, or 4-8 Florida.
Yep.
They won 8 games. Of those 8 games, combined opponent record 34-61.
And you better buckle it up because next year's home schedule's Texas, Auburn, LSU, and they're all going to be on new coaches. So there'll be some hype and some excitement around them, and then Alabama and Kentucky. That's your 5 home games. Then you got to go to A&M, to South Carolina. You better strap it on this offseason with what you do in the portal, which goes back to what I was talking about at the portal, because that stuff's going to matter.
And like this year, I mean, overall, there's nothing to hang your hat on. Like, it's like, you missed out on the playoffs, but you beat, an Alabama. You didn't do that this year. It's, but you beat, two.
You won at Florida.
But again, like, I know what you're saying. That's it. And like, that's a 3-8,
4-8 now. If they held on, if they held the 17-point lead that they had, they're 4-8.
Like Vanderbilt, take Vanderbilt for example. Right now at the time of this recording, they need a lot of help to make the playoff. They might not make the playoff. They got a lot to hang their hat on this year.
No, they go win a bowl game, be 11-2.
Yeah, like Tennessee. I mean, they just had the most wins in regular season program history tonight with this win.
Yep.
Tennessee has nothing that. I mean, the offense return looked cool, but again, you didn't beat anybody worth a damn this year. So it's like, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know. Moving forward, Joey Aguilar is going to play in the bowl game. At least he said that's not essentially like he's excited that it doesn't end this way. Austin, you kind of ask him about, the court case and all that, and he pretty much just said, we'll see. So, again, going back to what you said last week, I just think it's something he's not trying to get his hopes up. But it's going to be a long December. Again, you'll have signing day Wednesday. Portal doesn't open until 1st of January. Bowl game's not coming until the end of the month. It's going to be a long and kind of a dreary month of December here coming up.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for a little while too. I mean, the time from the end of this one until that portal window opens up is going to feel like an eternity, but it's not. You got a lackluster bowl game sandwiched in there, and a lot of tough decisions between here and there. So,
AP, what's going on with Star Thomas? Dwan Morris again, second back in the ballgame. That Peyton Lewis was there for an emergency.
Well, I mean, he
kick.
returned kicks. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't really understand it. Is it as simple as Dwan Morris is going to be here next year and Star Thomas is not? And so we'd rather give the run to some guy that's, and again, they didn't give a lot of run to anybody. First off, it was Deshaun Bishop's world in the first half. Mm-hmm. And then in the second half, the 3 and out afterwards, and all of a sudden you're down 10, it kind of changed. There wasn't going to be a whole lot of run plays called. So, I don't know. I don't think anything's necessarily wrong with him, but I just think Tennessee made a business decision to know, okay, if Dwan Morris and him are very similar, let's roll with Dwan Morris. He's going to be here next year because ultimately our bell cow right now is Deshaun Bishop, who's just short of 1,000 now. At like 17 yards or whatever short of
something like that,
heading into the bowl game.
And again, he lost 5 yards on one play that knocked him down below 100, which kind of hate that for him. But and I had no issue with that whatsoever. I mean, if that's the logic there. Anything else, man? I mean, this is not much to say about this one. It's kind of a turd. Kind of a turd.
Well, there's lots to say.
I mean, I got nothing else, man.
It's just ugly. I mean, just dominated. Second half, just about as ugly as a performance as they've had since they've been here.
Mm-hmm. You lost 3 home games for the first time since 2021. And again, that's something Josh Heupel's always been good at. That's just not been the case this year. We'll have plenty more to say, plenty more to write about. There'll be constant conversation going on in the GQ, as there already is right now. But for the final time here at Neyland Stadium, Tennessee falls a final score 45-24 to Vanderbilt. This has been the Postgame Mini Podcast. I'm Eric Kane, Matt Ray, Austin Price. Plenty more coming up tonight over at Volquest.com.